Hey guys, it is Carl Brown from GuitarLessons365.com. Got a great one from the late 70s today by Gerry Rafferty. We're gonna learn how to do Baker Street. So a lot of people don't know the actual name of the song, but the minute you hear that saxophone riff, you recognize everything. It's a great song. Besides that really killer sax line, it's got a great guitar solo in it. It's got a lot of really cool chords in it. It's just a very unorthodox song. Just rich harmonies and stuff like that. It's really, really great tune. So hope you guys will join me on the experience through all of it. We're going to cover all of it today. Now, before I do, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Ring the notification, all that good stuff. You know, it's kind of tiresome to keep saying that stuff. But if you guys just signed up for my Guitar Academy, I wouldn't have to talk about it so much anymore. You're going to see a link to that in the description below, and that Guitar Academy will give you free. That subscription, that free trial, will give you full access to all of my courses, for complete courses for beginners to more advanced courses on technique, improvisation, theory, guitar tone. Get personalized support from me. Weekly live stream, which is Academy members. So we have a great hangout every weekend. You can ask me questions in real time. So very fun. Please sign up. All right, let's jump into this song. So I'm in standard tuning here. So yeah, we have this sax line. This was played by Raphael Ravenscroft. And thank you, Wikipedia. But written by Gerry Rafferty. And then there's a guitar solo by Hugh Burns, which we're going to cover as well too. But before we get into all that fun stuff, we're going to start doing the chord work first. So let's start here with this intro. It's just once again, some interesting chords. So it looks like this. So we do that basically 3 times before we get into the sax solo. So this is, the first chord is a G major chord with A in the bass. So you can play this G like this. You have a bar at the the 3rd fret across the high E and the B string. Those 2-string bar. Then the 4th fret on the G. And then the 5th fret there on the D. So you basically do that and put the A string, open A string in the bass. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do an E flat major chord with F in the bass. So this can be played by simply barring the top 4 strings here on the 3rd fret. And then in front of that, so you're going to be barring from the high E to the D. And then in front of that, you can play the 4th fret there on the B string. So we have this. And then we're going to go to an F major chord with G in the bass. So the way to play that pretty easily into this area of the fretboard is barring the 1st fret of the high E and the B, 2nd fret there on the G, and then 3rd fret there on the D, and then reach over with your ring finger and grab the 3rd fret on the low E. That's that G bass note. And you get it, with that same finger is also going to be muting the A string. So you just have, so all together. And kind of let this chord ring for twice as long, and then you just repeat the same 3 chords again. All right, so after you do those 3 chords 3 times, we get to the sax solo. So before I do the actual solo itself, let's look at the chords underneath it. It looks like this. So we're going to start here with this D major chord, so simple enough. And then we're going to go to that F with the G in the bass that we did in the intro. Going to hit that a couple times and then go back to the D. And and then back to that F with G in the bass. Now you're gonna notice, like, when we're in a different section of the song, we're always working, if we're gonna be working our way back to that sax part, it just keeps coming back in. This is gonna be a chord that takes you there, that F with G in the bass. So we start with this at D. And then F with the G in the bass, and one more time. Now from here, you're gonna go to a C major chord. So that's simple enough. From there, we're gonna go to an A sus4. It's very, very interesting chords. We have open A, second fret on the D, second fret on the G, third fret there on the B, and the open high E string. So from the C to the A sus4, and then to a G. And then you're gonna, since we're gonna repeat this here, we're basically halfway through the sax solo here, you're gonna go back to that F with G in the bass, because we're gonna go back to that D. Just repeat the same chords again. And here, the second time through, just gonna end it with G, just strumming G for twice as long. We're not going to do that F with the G in the bass, because now this G chord is going to take us to the verse. Now, before we do the verse, let's look at the actual solo itself. So this is like I played in the intro of the video. So I'll play for you one more time again, then we'll take a look at it phrase by phrase. All right, so let's take a look at this. We're gonna start, I'm gonna start with, let's have this like glissando type thing that happens on the sax. They just kind of go through all the notes. So we can just kind of recreate that with a slide. So I'm starting for this F here. It's at the 6th fret on the B string, and just sliding up the B string. And when I get up here, I'm gonna grab the 13th fret there on the high E. And then we'll start the melody. So that's just gonna be 13, 12, 10, over to 13 on the B, then hammer it back 10 to 12 on the high E, then back to 10. Then we're gonna go over to here and grab this F that we started here, but it's gonna do it here, and because there's no kind of slide up. We're gonna do that phrase next. So that's gonna start with the 10th fret there on the G string, and then back up top again, 13, 12, 10 on the high E string, over to 13 on the B, and then a whole step bend on the G string. So basically, I'm basing this off of the very first time you hear this solo come in at the very beginning of the song. You hear this sax line come in and maybe slightly varied throughout the rest of the song, but we're just gonna focus on this first one, and then you can do it like this or slightly varied if you want throughout the song, but we're just gonna focus on this first one. So this is what you're gonna see all these notes based off if I'm doing a bend on something or whatever. So here, this is just a straight bend here at the 12th fret, and just hold that. So far we have this. Now we're gonna start the note. The starting note's gonna be the 10th fret on the B string instead of the G. For that next phrase. So this is gonna start on the A, which is that 10th fret there on the B string. And when instead of going like that, play that note here on the B string. We're gonna prepare for the bend that's coming up. We got a big 1.5 bend coming up. So we're gonna start here at the 10th fret on the B, and let's go 13, 12, 10, 8 on the high string. And then we're going to do that bend here, the 10th fret there on the B string. So that's bending up to that note, so it's a step and a half. And then resolve it down. So we have this. And then the last phrase. So that's once again starting on the B string. So that's the 10th fret there on the B. So then the 13, 12, 10, over to 13 on the B string, and then hammer 10 to 12 on the high E string. Now I'm going to do it with these fingers so I can do the bend with my, on the 13th fret there on the B with my ring finger. So we have this all together. All right, and now we're going to start again. The second half of it, this first phrase, kind of stops right there. So that's back to the note near on the 10th fret there on the G string. And then, so that's 13, 12, 10 on the high E string, 13 on the B, and then back to that 10 and just hold it. No hammer on. And then, so that was a little bit different than the first time through. So it's going to start once again on the 10th fret there on the G, and 13, 12, 10 on the high E string, 13 on the B, and then there's two, it's a bend and release, and then back to a bend here on the G string. Before we just bended it once and held it, but the second time through, kind of a bend and release there. Then the next phrase is just like the third phrase of the first half, which is starting at the 10th fret there on the B string. So that's just that. We've already covered that in the first time through. And then the last phrase. So that ending, I'm just kind of improvising a little thing there because it's kind of really fades out there. I haven't listened to any isolated tracks or anything like that. So it's just going to start a. So that's that starting the melody now, the 10th fret there on the B string, then 13, 12, 10, over to 13 on the B, then hammer 10 to 12 on the high string, then back to 10. Then come over to the 12th fret there on the G. And I'm just kind of improvising because you hear some bends there. Well, it's obviously on the sax, but you hear this kind of a bend type stuff on the 12th fret on the G, pull down, pull off to 10, and then over to 12 on the D, and then here it really kind of fades out. But I'm going to work my way back up and end it with this kind of back to that 10 on the G, and do a whole step bend on the G string, which takes us to the A, which takes us to the A chord. So that starts the verse. So. And that takes us to the verse. So go back to a clean setting here. So the verse has got some interesting chords too. So let me take a look at this. Here we go. So we're going to start here with this A major chord, and you're going to want to play this. This one, it's easy to hear the guitar doing this that much. But then there's a piano that's playing with it that keeps going up. It's harder to hear on the guitar that the E minor chord is being played over that A, but it's really apparent on the piano. So we're going to do that as well too. So that's the overall harmony of what's going on anyway. So it starts here like this. You have the open A string going on underneath all these chords. So you have the A, you're gonna start with this as an A major chord. So do it with a bar with your first finger. Just kind of mess around the 4 middle strings here. So open A, second fret across the D, G, and the B. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna make this a D major chord with A in the bass. So all you have to do is basically put your finger down to the 3rd fret on the B and the 4th fret there on the D string, still with the A in the bass. And then here we're gonna go up on the same 3 strings here. We're gonna have the open A, but we're gonna have the E minor triad here, which is the 5th fret there on the D string, 4th on the G, and 5th fret there on the B. So then it goes back down to that D major with A in the bass. So it kind of riffs on that for a little bit. So after you've done that twice, then it goes to a simple E minor chord, and then a G. Then we're gonna do this on the D chord at the end. So what that is that's a D major, just a normal D major. And then it's gonna go to a G major chord with D in the bass. So we have this open D string that's gonna keep ringing out. We're gonna move up to a G major chord just on these 3 strings here. So that's gonna be the bar across the 3rd fret of the high E and the B. And then the 4th fret there on the G. With that open D in the bass. And then back to the D. So all together. Just repeat that. And then we get to the chorus, which looks like this. That chord that ends it because it takes us back to the sax solo. So these chords for the chorus are going to start with a D minor 7. It's really cool. This song's got a D major, then a D7, then a D minor 7, all back to back. So we're going to start here with this D minor 7. So that's going to be a bar at the 1st fret across the high E and the B, and then the 2nd fret there on the G, open D. Then to an A minor chord. So that's a. Again. And then it goes to a C major chord. Then a G. So that goes from the C. Then we're going to go to a D major. And here, a D7. So from that D major, we're gonna go to the D7. So it's gonna still be the open D string, but 2nd fret there on the G, 1st on the B, 2nd fret on the high E string. So we have this. Then we start the chorus chords over. Here, the last 3 chords are different. Instead of a regular G major, that C going to a regular G major, it goes to a G with B in the bass. So just like a regular G major chord, but just don't play the note on the low E string. So it is. From there, we're going to go to an A major chord. And then the A major to that F with G in the bass, because that's the chord that takes us back to the sax solo. That happens after the chorus. So that was a very interesting way of kind of that second half of the chorus, how he's doing it. But then we start repeating a lot. We go through the sax solo again with the same chords under it, same verse, same chorus, same sax solo again. And then after like the third sax solo, like they're all very similar, so you can just kind of play it like I showed you in the very beginning. We can do, after the third sax solo, it goes back to basically the intro. It repeats the intro of the song again. So how we started everything, just do that. And that's kind of setting us up for the guitar solo. So the guitar solo is played by Hugh Burns, and it is over the same chords that are used during the sax solo. So it's the same chord progression he's soloing over here. All right, so that's got all we got left to do. So I'm going to play the solo for you real quick. Then I'll show you how to play it note for note. So here we go. All right, so that ending once again was a little kind of fades out there. So you hear the sax solo come back in. So you kind of just improvise my way down to this, the root note. But basically, let's start up here. We're going to start out with this. So this thing is just, I guess he's just doing, I don't think it's a delay that's doing it. It's just. So that's just the 20th fret on the high E string. And then slide down. You do that 3 times. And then come back to the 20th fret. Do a whole set bend. And then the next phrase. So that's going to be kind of a pre-bent 20th fret on the B string. Release the bend. And then bring the bend back up real quick. So it goes. And then play 20, 18, and then a bend and release of that 20th fret. Pull off to 18, over to 19 there on the G. So we have this. All right, from there we have this. So that's gonna start here at go back to the 13th fret there on the B string, do a whole set bend, and then a couple of unison type things. So it's just that, pick the 10th fret there on the high E string, and then bend that 13th fret there on the B to match it. And then back to that 10, so we have this. Oh, sorry. And then jump up here to the 15th fret on the high E string, and he's going to do kind of a series of bend and releases there. And then finally just hold it, the whole step bend at the 15th fret. All right, so that's kind of the first half of the solo. So wait, let's. All right, so then the next half of the solo starts with that same thing. So same phrase, and then that goes into this next phrase. So that's going to start at the bend at the 13th fret there on the B string again. Then you're going to play 13, 10 on the B. Then you're going to pull off 12 to 10 on the G string. And then you're going to pick 12 twice. then pull back off to that 10. Over to 12 on the D string, back to the 10 on the G string, back to the 12 on the D. So with this. Then, gonna quickly slide from 10 to 12 on the A string, and then play 10, 12 on the D. So we have this. A little bit slower. All right, and then we have the end of the solo. Looks like this. All right, so it kind of starts with some bend and release again at the 15th fret there on the high E string. And then he goes, he's gonna do it kind of a pre-bend release, pull off to 13. So he goes, and then you can kind of do a bend and release there, and then he starts these kind of 3 pull-offs from 15 to 13. And then go, which is 15 on the B, 13 on the high E string, 15 on the high E, 13. So with this. Then you're gonna do the pull off from 15 to 13. And then here it really starts to be buried in the mix. So I'm just gonna kind of continue, kind of just down to the, because with the same, with kind of the same licks, that's all I'm doing, kind of improvising it. Don't do it the same way each time. But the route you want to take is those 15, 13 on the high E. You're at the 15, 13 on the B, then go 14, 12 on the G, and then 10, 12 on the G, and then get down to that 12th fret there on the D. So I'm assuming he's probably going towards that note, but I can't hear it on the recording because it kind of fades out. The sax solo takes back over. So. So just something like that, just kind of mess around with it, but you want to get here. But you're gonna hear that sax solo come in there, and the sax solo kind of does the same thing that it's been doing the whole song, and it fades out. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's a great song. It's got some interesting, everything is very interesting. It's got like probably the most popular, well-known saxophone line in recorded history. Which is why I have to play it on guitar. It's more popular than the actual guitar solo, but it's got a great solo too. And then the chords and the melodies are just killers. It's got a really cool vibe to it. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.